Hello to all you geeks and degenerates out there, and welcome back to our 80s lineup. Technically, this show didn't come out in the 80s. It was at the precipice of it, like 1979. And it is Mobile Suit Gundam, which is just the first ever Gundam series to come out. And thankfully, Netflix has provided us with 3 movies, and we're doing the first one. And today joining me is Enzo, of course, and as his forever prisoner in this whole podcast, me, Joe.
We can never escape.
You can never escape. But yeah, like, wait, question: what made you want to do Gundam? The first one, like, I don't mind that you would want to do Gundam. It's just that there's Gundam Unicorn, there's Double O, there's Gundam C, but you went with the first one?
Yeah,
Nobody goes with the first one.
No one, none of them said 1981. I was like, perfect. I know nothing about Gundam aside from like, well, I did watch Unicorn and Iron Blood Orphans, so there's that.
Yeah, but there's no. Oh, sad to say, both of those have zero connection to the original. So that's why I'm so surprised. And you could argue with me that Unicorn is set in the same time period, but it is an alternate ending. That is not the correct ending. They're already doing the correct ending with Zoe's Flash. Yeah,
so Hathaway Flash is the correct ending? What?
So okay, look. After Char's counterattack, it's supposed to follow up with Zoe's Flash. But they're like, hey, we have this side story called Unicorn on what happened, like, what could have been the ending of this whole UC Century thing. It's weird. I know. Like, or the follow-up to Char's counterattack. But yeah, it is a weird timeline. And weird side stories that people want to tell for some reason. I don't know why they didn't start with Hathaway's Flash. Anyway, but yeah, getting right into it, it has been 8 months since the beginning of the war. We only have 4 left since it is called the Great 1 Year War. We have 4 months left within the battle, and we're introduced to Amuro Ray, Fraubo? I don't know who makes up these names, but yeah, we get introduced to our main character. Amuro Ray being a tech whiz, and his father being the guy who made the Gundam. And they all live in space. They have these colony things, which is what Elon Musk wants to do somewhere in the future. I really can't wait for Gundams in the future. I will drop being a host of this podcast to be a Gundam pilot.
Jesus Christ. Alright.
Yeah. And, but sadly, we got 3 Zaku's coming in, and I forgot what they were trying to do. It was either steal the Gundam or destroy it.
Yeah, they were coming in for like reconnaissance, I think.
Yeah, they were coming in for reconnaissance, but one of them just started shooting up shit and blew a hole in the fucking colony, and people were already evacuating because the white base is coming in. Being the one to carry this new secret weapon that they have called the Gundam. But since the invasion started, or like an attack happened within the colony where the white base is supposed to come in, shit doesn't go to plan. Yeah. So Amuro Ray happens to stumble upon the Gundam that his father built and has a manual for it, and I do love the opening scene for this. It's just that this kid opened a manual trying to pilot this fucking death trap.
Like, how do I
while
punch?
Fighting? Yeah.
Yay!
Fighting 3 experienced pilots.
Yeah.
And winning.
He somehow wins. You're like, you know what? I won't question it.
Mm.
It is the 80s. Like, you know what? I think what turned me off from anime for a long time was like, I was in my head. It was always the 80s style of just like, expressions like that. I was like, no. So when you're begging me to at least start one anime, I was like, I can never. And then I stumbled upon MHA. I was like, maybe I can.
Alright.
But yeah, like, I do like the art style. Like, the first battle is very distinctive. It's like, oh, the horrors of war, like something very familiar with like a Gundam. Uh,
Yeah.
I do like the Gundam fighting style. I just don't like, they suddenly stop and it's like a freeze frame. Like, yeah, I get why, but like at the same time, I don't really vibe with it. But it's fine.
The oddest thing is that if you watch the Netflix one, they have updated everything. It doesn't look as grainy and as shitty.
Yeah,
You will get used to the animation if you watch it long enough, oddly enough. But
I think what
Ye-
helped me was watching Evangelion first. I was like, all right, this is how old school anime used to be. It's fine.
no, that is way more high tech
Oh,
than what
good.
old school of what Gundam was. Like this was very like like if you saw stills for the show, you could see like people memeing with a like stretched out Gundam face.
Yeah,
The the body's a little bit
though
deformed.
I'll probably catch fire for this, but like, as much as I like this movie, and as much as I do like the battles and the character development, it is pretty slow. Off like, if this is your first Gundam thing, you're like, what is the hype? Why do people collect miniatures so much?
Okay, no, okay, hold on. I'll explain the hype. The hype is it is a robot show. Like it is full on like a space drum.
Yeah,
Looking at it from an outside perspective, you wouldn't think that. You would think, oh, it's just Voltron. It's just another Gao Gai Gar s kind of show where they're like, yeah, let's defeat the bad guy, black and white. There's no gray area. Here it is PTSD, war,
Yeah.
sacrifice, and all that jazz. But you don't see that. You would think Gundam as this other meta anime that it's just fun and giggles, and you like the fight scenes.
yeah.
It ain't that.
It's like starting with anything that's great, like with Breaking Bad or Star Wars. If you start from the beginning, you're at first like, what? Why do
Yeah.
people like these things? And then as you go along for the ride, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. You start to get, and no, I agree with you. This entire, I'm not gonna go through bit by bit of this whole fucking story, by the way, because this is a condensed version of. Forgot how many episodes it was on the original show, but they condensed a shit ton of episodes into 2 hours and 19 minutes, and they did that for 2 more movies.
It feels it.
So these
too.
these were a lot of episodes compact into one, and I get why it's a tad bit slow and the pacing's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Even I felt it. I watched the original show like all throughout the whole episodes. Like again, I forgot how many it was. It was either 17 or 16. But yeah, but they all jam packed it into one small package for you to be like, okay, but you will be a tad bit lost
Yeah.
at times. You can't tell what time period it is, how long has it been. At some points you would think, oh, it's just been a couple of days, when it's actually been already weeks in development.
Yeah, well, like some of the battles building up, you're like, after the end of some of the battles, you're like, this feels like the end of an episode or an arc. And then they start
Yeah.
from like the talkie points, and you're like, fuck, here we go again.
No, because, like, okay, I know I'm skipping ahead, but the scene with Garma when they would take him out is a completely different arc compared to meeting up with Ramboral at the very end. The guy with the blue Zaku
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, these are completely different arcs.
Yeah, it feels like that
And-
too. You're like, it's easy to get lost, and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Ah.
It's understandable. By the way, leading the charge of this invasion is one of the Chads of anime, Char Aznavour.
Yeah,
The
Charles
man
is pretty
doesn't
cool.
seem want to die. Yeah, by the way, if you ever want to see Char Aznavour being cool, yeah, you should watch Zeta.
Gundam
Zeta
Zeta?
also has, Gundam Zeta, or Zeta, however you want to pronounce it, also has a 3-part movie. I say they did a poor job with that one compared to this original one. But you get to see Char Aznavour have this whole different persona. He's called Quattro. He wears shades, and
Okay.
he teams up with Amuro Ray. Like,
Okay.
they both work together.
I have a question for you. When did you
Yeah.
start watching and getting into Gundam?
Boy, when I was in the womb. No,
From
kidding.
the womb?
No, it was because like it was a height of like Linkin Park and anime, and Toonami was on, and I think I was 4 or 5, or even younger. All I remember is seeing the commercial for Gundam Wing and hearing Linkin Park. I think it was Crawling that they had for that commercial, and I was like, and one of my first favorite Gundams was Heavy Arms, and he was this guy with like a huge Gatling gun for an arm, and he's color red, and I love color red. But
Okay.
yeah, those were like the earliest memories I've had of Gundam.
Okay. I
You know,
got into it because of my fencing partner.
not really, not your longtime friend and co-host.
I don't think
That's
we
been
started
telling
talking
you to
about.
watch it, like for how long? But no, you go with your fencing partner. Fine, trust his opinion.
I don't think we even talked about Gundam until that point. Well, you mentioned it, but like, it wasn't. I don't know. He never. It's not like tie me down and make me watch it, type of deal. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm stuck here.
Well, sometimes we have to.
But it was him and eventually you of like a combined effort of like, fine, I'll watch it.
Yes, because Gundam is fucking good.
And I think with him, I started with Gundam Unicorn.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And he explained to me exactly what you said. Like, oh, it's not the real ending, it's an alternative ending. I was like, then why did you make me watch it?
Because it's a good story.
I know, but like at the time I was like,
Like, it's a
what's
good
the
story of what could have
point?
been.
Yeah, but I started from that, so I'm like, what do you mean what could have been? What could have been what?
What?
Yeah.
It's a complicated story.
And he tried to get me into Gundam Seed, and then I was like, yeah, it is not the same quality, but fine, I'll watch it for fun.
Soundtrack for Gundam Seed is busted.
It is buzzing, but the rest of the show, you're like, what's happening?
It's a safe situation. Kid finds a Gundam,
Yeah,
drives it, works for the
it's
military.
It's
Yeah.
always that thing of like, oh, a kid. It doesn't matter if it's what's the name of the main character of the movie?
Amuro.
Amuro, Banadger. Forget the guy's name for Iron Blood Orphans. It's like, oh, I found a Gundam.
Oh, no. Iron-Blooded Orphans is a completely different story.
That is true.
Yeah, okay. No, because I would like... this became a whole podcast about Gundam instead of talking about this one fucking movie. But we all have to understand, there are two different ways to make a main character. But with this recent show that we have with Witch from Mercury is a completely different
Yeah, that was new. I was
story
like,
now.
whoa.
But yeah, so there's the Amuro Ray way of going at the new Gundam suits. Is kid stumbles upon Gundam and becomes the best pilot in the world. The other one is child soldier becomes a greatest Gundam pilot in the world. It's either of those, you know. Like there's Hiro Yui from Gundam Wing, and then there's Setsuna FCA from 000. And then now there's Mikazuki Argas from Iron-Blooded Orphans, who are all child soldiers, became main character. You know, that's how the main character goes. Or you become the guy who stumble upon a death machine and have very conflicting views of war.
But yeah, going back to the movie, I love how Char's mobile suit is beefy. It's like it's just a red beefy boy.
No, it's not beef. Oh well, okay, it's a tiny bit chunky, but Zack is our chunky. Oh my god.
I just always like the design of his. It's a mobile suit, right? Not Gundam. Or
No,
not-
no, it's a mobile suit. Yeah,
Okay.
Gundam's the ones that look like this.
Okay.
This is not RX-78, by the way. This is from the GP03, if I remember. Anyway,
And he's such a brilliant mind. Like if we're talking Star Wars, he is the throne of this universe.
I would say he's the Vader, because he has he has the very recognizable antagonist look, which is red. Everybody else will look the same, just like with Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers, everybody would kind of look the same until you see the color. Them it's white, here it's green. With Vader and Char, it's red and black.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And,
so
like,
it's kind of like...
Amoro's like, I can take him. And they're like, no, you can't. You really can't, kid.
No, you cannot. And by the way, they're all children, too. Like,
Yeah.
You would think that Char Aznavour is like in his 20s, but he's actually like 19 here. Especially with Bright Noah. The father of Hathaway Noah from Hathaway's Flash is 19 years old when he becomes the captain of the White Base. Amuro Ray is supposed to be 16. These are all children working in the military. Whole G-force training thing, combat reaction time. I don't know if you could just get that right off the bat.
I think my favorite battle of this movie is the one where they have to be careful about burning up in the sun or the Earth's atmosphere.
Oh yeah, where like they find out that the Gundam can actually come into orbit, like re-entry. Yes, that shit's so fucking sick.
Yeah, and poor guys.
But you see like the Zaku's like they're like entering Earth's orbit and they're burning up and they're like,
Char, help me! It's like,
yeah,
Chow. Oh shit.
Peace.
I think that's my one complaint. Like, if you didn't know this was like a shit ton of episodes crammed into one, you're like, where did Char go? He disappeared.
Yeah, a lot of times main characters would disappear. You won't hear from them from time to time, and they would like come in like out of nowhere. It is weird. I do love what happens next. Is that like after this moment, they had time to rest. Amuro's back in the White Base. They landed on Earth. They're on Jaburo, and they could grieve. Or I think they're in the like Alaska or something.
Yeah.
Or Canada, I forgot.
Somewhere pristine.
Yeah. Like Amuro finally had some downtime, but then he starts having PTSD, which is such a like if you're a kid and you see this show, you'd be like, "What the hell? Get in the fucking robot!
Get in the fucking robot, Amuro." Shinji.
Yeah. Right? It's always like that.
Yeah.
Hey, with Shinji, that little piece of shit didn't want to go in the first place.
Yeah.
Amuro had no choice.
He already had experience by that point of like, there's like, well, you killed people before, do it again, Amuro. He's like, I don't want to. With Shinji's like, Shinji's like, no! It's like, alright, he doesn't want to go.
Yeah. So Amuro doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
He's tired of killing people and he doesn't want to go back into the robot, which is such an interesting way to tell a story. Because they never touched upon it ever again. Like, I watched a shit ton of Gundam. They never touched on PTSD. Like, after this.
Yeah, I think coming from a Japanese animation studio, like I think it's interesting that they would show this part of, for lack of a better term, more of like PTSD and stuff.
Yeah.
With soldiers being like, I don't want to kill, I'm tired of endless death. And like, I do like it that the other soldiers just don't get it. Like, they slap Amuro, like, just snap out of it. It's all in your head. It's like,
yeah. The famous Bright slap is a thing. But it does push Amuro to be like, okay, fine, I have to do it. Because a couple of his friends, like Kai, the guy with the purple hair, and the one in the gun tank, are in deep shit. They can't take care of it alone. That is always like the main trio, is that the gun tank, I forgot what you called it. Something cannon. Gun cannon?
Yeah.
And the Gundam were always the three main guys who would go into battle. They're the big three. By the way, don't underestimate a gun tank. Sure, it looks funky and weird with its turret arms and it looks pudgy. But that shit's a beast. If you play the new Gundam game, or the goods play the gun tank.
Yeah, Overwatch for Gundam skin, you're like, oh damn, the gun tank's pretty cool.
Yeah, like it's the most easiest to play, but it's the most devastating character to play as.
It's as easiest to play as Barbatos, it's as hard to play. You're like, god damn, why can't you just hit straight?
Like you smashed down, but the guy's like an inch away. I'm like, damn it!
But yeah, it is. I do like them exploring this whole thing of PTSD. And this just brings Japanese animation to like a whole new level of realism. Like at this point, I don't even know what Disney was doing at this one, but like I don't think Disney has ever explored something like this.
No, that's why sometimes I love Japanese animation. Like they touch on things that, hey, that's a little too adult for a kids show, and we're like, why can't kids learn about this early on so they can prepare themselves about the subject?
Yeah, it's like why I graduated from liking The Lion King as my favorite animated movie to like Princess Mononoke. Like Lion King is like, oh, Mufasa died. Here you have like a demon pig vomiting shit tons of blood. You're like, ah, cruel.
Okay, that might be a little too much.
Yeah, I'm saying comparison
yeah.
of like Mufasa just being kind of stepped on as to like a pig, bleeding out. Like one's more visceral than the other.
Yeah. I mean, this show touches upon a lot of concepts. Like with Kai, he wants to be a deserter. He doesn't want to fight in the war, but he's stuck here. He's stuck in the white face. He has nowhere else to go. They do touch upon his character in the second movie, which maybe if Enzo would like to do, we could do that too. But yeah, Amuro sucks it up, fights like a fucking beast. this man catches his like he runs out of ammo. Then the white base is like, hey, sending you another beam cannon. I'm like, okay, he catches it mid-air and starts wasting fools. I'm like, yep, that's why he's the best.
That was a cool scene to watch. But like one thing that always sticks in my mind is the ending speech of Zion against the Federation. Of like, if you know history and all that shit, you're like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Echoes of history.
This looks very familiar. By the way, the story behind why Zeon came to be, is when Earth started to overpopulate, they started branching out into space, started making colonies. The furthest colony was kind of, I guess, neglected, and they wanted their own independence, thus forming Neo-Zeon, Zeon, Neo-Zeon's unicorn, forming Zeon and wanted to gain independence. And for them to do that, for Earth to listen, they dropped a goddamn colony on Australia. Thus, starting... Well, no, that didn't start the war. They shot somebody. But yeah, this pretty much kicked it off. Like, this is when 50% of human life started to like, oh, fuck, that was bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to add. Like other than that, I had a cousin of like, I was trying to explain Gundam to them, and they're like, "Oh, the robot in Ready Player One." I was like, "Yes, it looks like that."
Okay. By the way, Ready Player One did Gundam dirty.
The one that fought
It was
Mechagodzilla. I was like, "Please just shut up, kid. I don't want to be cousins no more."
I feel like that was a bit... Well, never mind. We're not going to get into this.
We'll get it into when we do Ready Player One for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, we get to other arcs. We get to us getting to know Garma, which is Garma Zabi, is one of the sons of the Grand Daikuns of the Zabi family. I'm probably butchering the titles, whatever. But yeah, he is the favorite. He is the shining star compared to his fascist brother and his psychopath sister. Yeah. The Daikun kind of liked him more.
Okay.
But unfortunately, he's friends with Char. And Char tends to be a backstabbing bastard, leaving him to dry when he was like, hey, I'm a scout out, see if the white base is anywhere in this area. I'll let you know. He actually just leaves him. White base comes out of hiding and shoots them down, thus killing Garma. Yeah. And as he's going down, you know how horrible it is to hear from your only friend to be like, hi, yeah, by the way, I just left you to die. I actually hate your family, and I can't wait to destroy your like everything that you stood for. Goodbye, as you're crashing down. Yeah, that was Char. The man is a cold fucker.
Yeah. See anything like the unicorn version? This version? I forget. I know I like Char from
Do you?
Unicorn.
Uh, kinda ish. I mean, it's a reoccurring theme, right? Like, right, Char in or Full Frontal from Unicorn had another purple-haired best friend. I don't know if you noticed, but in Iron Blooded Orphans, you remember what's his name? Bakagilis, the blonde hair guy,
Yes.
who's supposed to be like a Char ripoff.
Yes.
He has a purple-haired best friend that he betrays. It's a
Son of a
reoccurring theme.
bitch. So, I have a question. Like, to any newcomer who wants to start Gundam, where do they start?
To any newcomer who wants to start Gundam and just to have fun with it, you don't need to think about the timeline. And if anyone bashes you for it, just ignore them. If you love the anime, you could love the anime. But the best one, I would say, is Gundam Double O. It is a story all on its own. It's fun, it's action-packed, it has a boy band crew. It's either that or Gundam Wing, but Gundam Wing does have a dated animation. So for a newcomer, they might not be into that. So start out with Gundam Double O. They have really good animation. And once you start to like that and you want to get into more older stuff, I would say 8th MS-Team. 8th MS-Team is, in my opinion, is probably one of the best Gundam series ever.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then is that
That's
when
what
they
I-
start collecting kits? If they
No,
want-
it's from Double O that they'll start collecting kits. Because the design for their Gundams are pretty, like, sick. As you can see from here, there's Exia. So they might like the sharp, big sword, the giant cannon designs more than the regular militarized, practical-looking mobile suits. But yeah, anyway, after Garma's death, we jump into this little side story, little filler arc where Amuro reunites with his mom. And this was hard. Like, I know it's an old show and it doesn't hit as hard as compared to other storytellings of today's standards. But seeing your son completely changed by the war and you as a mom stuck in this refugee camp, not knowing what has happened to your son, is a tough watch.
Yeah.
Like, she sees, like Amuro comes into the refugee camp, Zeon soldiers pass by because they see the fighter, like, out in daylight. So they start, like, raiding houses, and Ambrose is one of them, and he just starts shooting the soldiers. And the mom's, like, in disbelief and being like, my boy would have never done that. He wouldn't hurt the fly. And at the end of this arc, it's just her seeing her son, instead of hug her or kiss her goodbye, he salutes her, turns around with a cold stare, and walks away. The mom saying that is not her boy anymore.
Yeah.
The war has changed my son. And I cannot get what I had before ever again. After, him and her, the father, like, separated.
Yeah, poor mom. Poor Amuro,
Yeah.
they're like, war is
Yeah.
hell. Like, whether it's an animated style or, Saving Private Ryan, that's always the lesson. Like, war is never a fun thing. It never will be.
Yeah. And then we get to the final arc of this movie, which is introducing Rambo-Ral, which is one of the best characters in the show. He's the one who pilots the blue Zaku-looking Golf.
Yeah.
We will get more of his backstory.
Later on?
In the second movie. This is just his introduction. This is the Boba Fett of the Star Wars theme.
I hope he's better than Boba Fett.
Oh, he is. He is way better than Boba Fett, and he has a hot wife.
Alright.
Yeah, you know the short king thing. That's him.
Ah.
His wife is like towering over him, but he's a commander. He has a big chest. He has a mustache. That's cool.
Yeah, poor Boba just has a Wookiee.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. But yeah, we get introduced to him. He fights Amuro. now we have our next big bad guy for the second movie,
Yeah.
and that's our introduction. And then, yeah, the final scene is just us seeing him with Char, watching the news, seeing the Zabi family declare dictatorship, and that's where the movie ends. Yeah. Kind of bleak, but again, just keep watching. All the movies are out. This was made in 1979, so it's all out there. You can just watch it. Like if this review is not enough, just continue watching. It's completely fine.
Okay.
But yeah, with that being said, what would you rate the first Gundam?
Good characters, good animation, and like, there's an overall really compelling story most of the time, except for like the down parts of like, oh, we're just resting on the beach. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Aside from all that, I'll give it a fair score of 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty fair actually. Because a lot of Gundam fans didn't like this one. Like they didn't like the first Gundam because it's old. You can't really sit yourself to watch an old animation, and that's why I love it that Bandai or whatever company, Sunrise, took their time to condense the show and be like, hey, here it's more digestible now. A little bit messy, but it's digestible.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. Yes, the characters are great. I underestimated the animation for this one. I don't know if it was updated compared to the old show. I'm not willing to go back to watch it. But seeing the fluid animation, the depth of the characters, and I keep forgetting how horrible the story. Like horrifying the story is when it came to Gundam. Of like PTSD, desertion, mother losing her child, not physically, but you know, I guess spiritually or emotionally.
Emotionally.
Yeah. Betrayal and all that jazz. Like you wouldn't expect that from looking at it from a poster. If you saw the Gundam poster, you'd be like, "Oh, it's just a fun kids movie." When it's actually a story about, hey, don't have war. This is the horrible things that happen. They'll happen if we did have war. And I like that, Tomino, if that's his name. Tomino didn't like shy away from those subjects and try to be more kid friendly. So yeah, I'm very happy with this condensed version of the show where it is more digestible to newcomers who want to start watching the original. But yeah, it is I'll give it a 7.5. Animation's still old. Pacing's weird because it is episodes jammed into one. As Enzo said, it has a lot of downtime. So be prepared to do a lot of reading. They don't have an English sub either, so if you don't like reading, good luck. But yeah.
Well, I would ask, like, what old school anime would you recommend the public to watch? Like, old school, like before. I'll say before Attack on Titan.
Before Attack on Titan. Old school anime that I would recommend before Attack on Titan. I would say like something popular, something a little bit. Death Note's a pretty good one. Again, I'm just trying to remember. There's this really good mecha anime. For sure, I'll find it and Enzo will like edit it right here. They're like a police force, but they use mechs. And the mechs have like gigantic shotguns, and it's actually really intense. Like the fight scenes there where they're up against AI robots that could kill them. It's fucking good.
I would just
Psychopath is a pretty good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would recommend the original Cowboy Bebop because I had such a fun time watching it.
Yeah, those are really good ones.
Like I'm trying to get into more. Like I'm just confused. Like I tried to get into Full Metal Alchemist, but like the one I started, they were like, "Don't start with that. Start with the 2010 version." I was like, "Why?"
Oh no, it's because the old one, the 2005 one, was up to episode 15. They just started making shit up because the manga wasn't finished yet.
Oh.
The 2010 version, or I think 2011, that's the one where the author actually finished the story, and this is how he actually wanted it to end. Because in the old one, he gets transported to our world in Nazi Germany. Yeah, it wasn't good. Like, all your favorite characters were Nazis. I'm like, nah.
I remember my fencing partner also introduced me to anime where like Jesus and Buddha would hang out. Like
Yeah. It's that I know that one.
Yeah.
We'll find it and we'll plaster it here.
Yeah, interesting concept. Pretty good anime.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that it for Gundam? Mobile Suit Gundam 1?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, did you guys like it? Did you not? What's your favorite Gundam if ever you're a fan? Let us know down in the comments below. Leave a like, share, ring the bell icon, subscribe. I am fucking up the order of this one, but I don't care. And so take us home. Fuck.
Well, you can also find us on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. Where can they find you individually?
You can tell that I haven't been hosting a lot. But yeah, you can find me individually on Instagram at JomGOM_.
You can find me.
Again, I messed that order up too.
You can find me at Ganjoffice995 on Twitter. Alright, take us home.
Alright, we'll see all you geeks and degenerates next time. Ciao.